My niece is marrying a man who treats us like trash, and then she asked for my dead husband's life insurance money. I was always the cool aunt, my niece's confidant and best friend. The favorite aunt. Until he came along. I never thought I'd be here, writing about the slow collapse of a bond one once considered unshakable. I'm 28, and my oldest brother is 21 years my senior. That age gap meant his eldest daughter, my niece, is just 23, only 5 years younger than me. We didn't grow up like an aunt and niece. We grew up like sisters. She was my shadow, my confidant, my partner in crime. When she needed someone to vent to about her parents, I was the one she called. When her boyfriend broke her heart, I was there with ice cream and a listening ear. She'd call me in the middle of the night, asking for a ride home from a party. And when her now fiancé proposed, I was the first person she called, at 6 in the morning, because she couldn't wait to tell me. And then, she brought him into our lives. Her fiancé is a year younger than her. They've been together for 3 years. On paper, he's impressive, studying biochemical and microengineering, about to graduate next year. Smart, introverted, with a dry sense of humor. At least, that's what she told us. From the first family gathering, his disdain was like a cold draft seeping into a warm room. He stood there, eyes half-lidded, acting like it was physically painful to be around us. If my niece dared step away to talk to someone, especially the little cousins, he'd pull her back to his side, his expression screaming "You're mine." My oldest brother, the bride's father, kept defending him. He's just shy. Large groups make him uncomfortable. He's different one-on-one. But I've seen him in small groups. I've been in those small groups. And he's the same, condescending, smug, talking to everyone like they're too stupid to breathe. When they got engaged, things somehow got worse. I wasn't asked to be in her bridal party. It stung, but I swallowed it. Her wedding, her choice. Then came the engagement party, organized by his family. None of us were invited. She told me it was just parents and siblings, but later, social media told the truth. She had lied. When I confronted her, she brushed it off. I didn't make the guest list. I let it go. Again. She didn't invite me, or even my mother, to her dress fitting. Said she had to save spots for his mom and sisters. That was the moment I told her point blank. It feels like you're trading our family for his. She swore she wasn't. But when I casually asked later how they'd spent holidays, he answered for her. With my family. That was the first time I felt my stomach drop. And then came the dinner that shattered whatever fragile peace was left between us. The dinner that changed everything. It was December when she finally reached out to invite my husband and me to dinner. I was genuinely excited. Ever since the engagement, she hadn't initiated a single hangout with us. Maybe, I thought, this was her way of rebuilding the bridge. Dinner was tolerable. Her fiancé barely engaged in conversation, and every pause felt like a chasm we had to awkwardly fill. But at least no one was openly rude. Then the check arrived. It sat on the table for 15 minutes. They'd invited us, yet neither of them reached for it. My husband sighed and picked it up. No protest. No offer to split. Just silence. And then, can we have a serious conversation? I figured it was wedding planning talk. I was wrong. They wanted money. Not just a little, help us with Sunday cool kind of money. They needed a serious financial contribution toward their wedding. Apparently, it was more expensive than they'd anticipated. I asked the obvious. Why not wait until you're both financially stable? You're still in school, and she only has a part-time job. Her fiancé jumped in, voice full of entitlement. Halfway through, it was time for the family photo. We called him over. His reply: "This isn't my family." I will never forget the look on my mom's face as she excused herself to the bathroom in tears. That was my snapping point. I pulled him aside and hissed, low enough for only him to hear: "If you don't want to be in this family, get the F*** out. I'm done pretending to like you. Leave." He left. My niece stood to follow him. I told her flatly, "If you walk out with him, forget coming to Mexico." She stayed, but her glare said everything. Later, 12 of us, the adults in the family, sat her down and aired every grievance we had about him. She defended him to the last breath. "You just don't know him. You make him uncomfortable." That night, I knew I couldn't pretend anymore. I RSVP'd no to her wedding. But she wasn't going to let my refusal slide quietly, and that led to the coffee shop confrontation. "If you really cared." She texted me almost immediately after seeing my RSVP. "Why aren't you coming?" I agreed to meet her for coffee. I wanted to look her in the eye when I told her the truth. I laid it out as gently, but as firmly, as I could. "I don't believe he's a good person. I see your independence, your spark, disappearing behind his expectations. I can't support this marriage." Her eyes hardened. "You just don't understand. If you really cared about me, you'd suck it up and come to my wedding." I told her caring sometimes meant not enabling a bad decision. That it was because I loved her that I couldn't sit there smiling while she walked into a life I believed would hurt her. I made her a promise, though. "Whatever you choose, I'm in your corner. If I'm wrong about him, I'll be the first to admit it. You can always come to me for anything. Always." We left it at that. No hugs. No warmth. Just a fragile thread of connection, already fraying. I thought that was the end of the drama until the bridal shower, where my daughter became an unexpected target. The bridal shower disaster. I hadn't planned to go. But my niece asked me several times to attend her bridal shower, insisting she also wanted my young daughter, her goddaughter, there. She even assured me there would be other kids. The day came, and my daughter was the only child in the room. Almost immediately, her maternal aunt began scolding her for touching things she wasn't even touching. The mother of the groom accused me of trying to ruin the event, and one of the groom's sisters said it was rude to bring a child. I was ready to walk out. But then my niece's 19-year-old sister, who has special needs, quietly took my daughter upstairs to play in her room. She'd said she was feeling overstimulated herself, and the two of them found comfort away from the crowd. My niece, however, was upset that her goddaughter didn't stay downstairs for the whole event. She never even said hello to my daughter. My little girl went home sad, asking why her Gigi didn't want to talk to her. The awkwardness peaked when we played "How Well Do You Know the Bride?" I won, of course, no surprise given our history. My niece laughed and called me basically her best friend. The room went silent. Everyone knew I wasn't in her bridal party. Even her own sister wasn't. But all of the groom's sisters? Front and center. It was humiliating. For both of us. And yet, somehow, the most insulting part was still to come, when my parents got their final straw. The final straw. It started with the rehearsal dinner. My parents, grandparents of the bride, weren't invited. They were told it was wedding party only. Which, conveniently, included the entire groom's family. I later found out his grandparents were invited, despite also not being in the wedding party. Why? Because they'd flown in from out of state and wanted time with the grandkids. I kept that to myself to spare my parents the extra hurt. Then came the second blow. My niece asked my mom what she was wearing to the wedding. Mom said she had a beautiful dress she'd worn once to a friend's daughter's wedding, classy, elegant, perfect for the occasion. My niece's response? "You dress old-fashioned and frumpy. I don't think anything you have would be appropriate." My mom, stylish even in her 70s, was stunned. She sent a picture of the dress anyway. My niece texted back. I guess it's okay. That was it for my dad. He wrote a short, cutting message. From our interactions, it seems you don't want us to be part of your special day. Your grandmother and I will no longer be attending your wedding. They returned their gift. My husband and I followed suit. From my side of the family, only 2 of my 5 siblings would be there, one because she's his daughter, the other because his wife was hired to play guitar at the ceremony. Even he planned to leave right after, showing up in jeans, a t-shirt, and a hat, just like the groom wore to our parents' 50th anniversary. And now, with the wedding a week away, the damage feels irreversible. A wedding without us. The wedding is just a week away. The invitations are still pinned to my fridge, but they might as well be reminders of everything that's been broken. I've replayed the last year in my head 100 times, every red flag, every insult, every moment I bit my tongue for the sake of keeping the peace. And I keep landing in the same place. Silence didn't protect our bond. It only let it rot quietly. Some say I should have gone anyway, to keep the relationship alive. But to me, showing up would have been a lie. It would have been sitting in the front row, smiling through gritted teeth, pretending to celebrate something I believe will hurt her. I hope I'm wrong about him. I hope, one day, she calls me and says, "You misjudged him, and we're happy." Nothing would make me happier than to eat those words. But I also want her to remember, no matter what, that she can come to me. No lectures, no "I told you so." Just a safe place to land. Until then, I'll be keeping my distance. For my own sanity. For my parents. For the sake of not normalizing his behavior. And if she walks into this marriage with blinders on, well, sometimes the only way people learn is by living through the fire.